Elden Ring was one of the most acclaimed games of 2022, lauded by many as From Software's greatest work yet. With that kind of success and a good 2 years since the game's initial release, the pressure to create a powerful and engaging experience is unfathomably high. Will the DLC actually live up to the hype? I had the chance to get a look for myself in a preview event held in late May. While the preview only gave me a portion of the upcoming DLC to explore, it painted a clear picture of what to expect. I was granted 3 hours to explore a large chunk of the Land of Shadow. Aside from being nudged in the recommended direction, I had full agency to explore the area as I pleased. After selecting from a small list of different pre-made builds, my experience started exactly where just about everyone expected it to, in front of the Mikola egg in the back of Mog's boss room. Only now, a new NPC was there, directing me to touch the withered arm. The builds provided were already fully stocked with weapons and spells new to the DLC, giving me an immediate look at what kind of goodies can be found throughout the Land of Shadow. Having chosen a magic-centric build, I was fully decked out for intelligence and faith, with sorceries, incantations, and a few of the more lightweight weapons. The new sorceries were unique variations of existing spells like the Glintstone Nail, a pale, homing version of the standard Glintstone Shard spell. There were more incantations and sorceries which focused more on the bestial, invoking roars and wings. The overall setting seemed to be very bestial in nature, which made the new incantations fit to the overall tone of the environment and likely has lore implications. More impressively, the physical weapon options outshined the spells in their creativity and uniqueness. By default, I was equipped with a set of hand-to-hand combat gloves and a special throwing dagger. The gloves offered a fast and overwhelming flurry of punches and kicks. The different attack options comboed into each other fluidly, with my character able to quickly close the gap between me and my target. With the dagger, every attack saw my character throw it forward, only to instantly reappear in my hand afterward. This offered all of the expediency of a dagger with an increased range. With an unlimited usage and stat scaling, it beat out any consumable thrown weapon. Its greatest downside was the short throwing range. While it could reach further than most melee weapons, it was still quite short, making it hard to gauge when I was close enough to hit enemies. There were perfume bottles that spewed fire, pointed shields meant as an offensive weapon. Nearly all of the other weapons I would encounter offered a similar level of creativity, making the DLC an absolute buffet for anyone with a penchant for trying different playstyles. Like any FromSoft game, my initial experience was a humbling one. I began in an open field of grass and ghostly tombstones. In the distance was one of the gigantic fiery basket man things I had seen in previous trailers. So in a moment of audacity that Elden Ring really knows how to provoke, I tried to fight it. After getting absolutely dunked on by a rain of fire, I decided to explore somewhere else, my confidence tempered. After meeting some glowy worm ghosts, I was humbled further by a high-capacity rapid-fire crossbowman hiding in a dungeon to the west. The developers provided a recommended path to follow at the beginning of my session. Only then did I decide to follow that advice. Around this time, I had discovered how the DLC handles balancing the experience for a wide range of potential character levels, with Shadow Realm blessings. Certain blessing items can be found in select locations. When at a Site of Grace, I was able to upgrade my blessing level. Doing so boosted my attack along with my overall damage negation. The catch is that these stat bumps are only in effect while in the Land of Shadow. It was a clever way to create a secondary pacing for progress regardless of what level I start the DLC at. Following the developer-recommended path, I encountered a good variety of enemies and creatures throughout a ruined town called Belurat. While some creatures, like the giant scorpions and mini deathbirds, were surprisingly easy encounters, the unseeming ghostly men that populated the town were quite hardy. further reinforcing the idea that I needed to play carefully and not make assumptions about my enemies. The further into town I delved, the more items of interest I would find. The town, as far as I could tell, was razed by Mesmer's army. This is evidenced by the frequent discovery of Black Firefly, a crafting item described as a small flaming butterfly found where Mesmer's battles were held. This reinforces the popular theory that Mesmer is a child of Marika and Radagon, sharing the same butterfly-themed item as Millennia and Mikola. I also found the Silver Horn Tender, a horned coin used as currency by the Hornsent, whoever they are. While just a reskin of the Pickled Fowl feat of the base game, this provides one of many small adjustments that feed into the overall lore of this realm. After working my way through, I came upon the Lion Dancer boss fight. Starting as a spar against a beast as quick as it was large, it evolved into a cacophony of combat as it summoned a full-on lightning storm to the arena. Several attempts, and one victory later, I was rewarded with his literal head as a helmet. It didn't match my build, but sometimes fashion is more important than efficiency, even in the land that the gods abandoned. The rest of my time was spent traversing the second area, Castle Ensis. This place is more magic-centric, having a spell troll guarding the entry bridge and mages throughout. It ended with a boss fight against a dual-element sword fighter called Relana. I ran out of time before I could beat her, though. Even after all of that, there was still plenty that I didn't have time to experience. Lava-filled dungeons and small troops of dumpy troll men littered the landscape. Glancing at the screen of the journalist next to me, I saw them encounter a ghost flame dragon, only to die to a naked man in the forest wielding bear arms. The developers described the DLC as being about the size of Limgrave, but even with the limited area I was allowed to experience, that felt like a reductive statement. There's something to be found in every direction. The second major beauty of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC lies within the narrative. FromSoft games have a history of hiding their deeper lore and stories behind item descriptions and subtle environmental designs. From the pieces of horned currency to the pre-boss dialogue, there are countless fragments of a greater story. They were so cleverly placed that I was fascinated and terribly curious about how they all fit together. I'd be here all day if I tried to mention them all. What's the difference between a normal root resin and the not resin found in the Land of Shadow? Why was the finger reader looking crone covered in horns? What does old horn-decked beast from higher sphere delivered mean? I don't know, but damn if I don't have ideas. As confident as I am with the theories I've developed, I won't know if they have any legitimate merit until the full DLC comes out, and in a way that kind of makes it more fun. I only had a small sample of what was going on. I learned virtually nothing about both Mesmer and Mikola, the frontmen of this DLC. Yet I'm still spending chunks of my downtime theorizing about dead gods, political plays, and unwritten truths. This side of the DLC may not appeal to everyone, but it will absolutely tantalize those interested in the narrative side of the game. There's a lot of anticipation for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, but From Software absolutely delivers in multiple regards. With plenty of new weapons, an interesting and well-designed environment, exciting bosses, and some really rich lore, Shadow of the Erdtree is sure to satisfy every kind of Elden Ring fan. Based on what I experience, the wait will be completely worth it.